regulated and responsible industries on the face of the planet. That's a fact. And, if I'm at the point where I'm watching Jaws 3D and I'm critiquing their portrayal of the amusement park, I mean, it made me question at one point. I'm like, why the hell did SeaWorld even want to be associated with this? Right. We want to have a shark-killing movie with people getting trapped underwater and everything like that. And the CEO of SeaWorld is like, yeah, it sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
what?
You thought Blackfish was bad publicity. Jaws 3? Yeah, I mean, come on. Well, what else did you guys like in this movie? Because I'll say that, like, something that was very, like, I wasn't scary. It was more like haunting because, like, you kind of put yourself in the situation. It's when Crocodile Dundee is down there and he gets swallowed whole by the shark, but he's still, like, alive in the mouth, and, like, he sees the mouth opening and closing, and, like, you see, like, you could escape, but you can't because you got to get through the jaws of the shark, and that's just a real creepy scenario. Like, if you're in that situation, that's like horrible because you can see freedom, but you can't get out, and I don't know, and that's, of course, how they end up saving the day because he was in there with a grenade. But what did you guys think of that? His end as a character in that whole situation?
No, I thought it was novel, and obviously, a great way to sort of screw with the audience, especially with the effects and everything like that. It's a neat idea at the very least. Show that they were trying something different, but and at least it went somewhere. At least it did tie into the ending.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
It was Chekhov's grenade.
Chekhov's grenade. Was he just dead floating there with a grenade in his hand, or was he still alive at that point when they pulled the trigger on the grenade?
No, I am assuming he's dead, and like the shark, when it was like trying to swallow him, was like crushing him. Because, like, we saw some blood and stuff at that point. Like, I don't understand how the shark could just swallow him whole. Yes, I get he's that big, but I mean, like, at 25 feet, like, it's going to have to take a few bites on the way down.
Well, this shark is 35 feet, Brandon.
Or 35 feet, sorry. It's going to take a few bites on the way down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's almost like that's why this guy was in the movie, was to get the grenade, because when they originally went down the first time, he wanted to bring the grenades down. I don't know, like, yeah, that was an interesting scene. I don't understand. I'm like, so why was this shark stuck in this drainage pipe that was blowing the water the other way?
Well, the shark was so strong, it could swim in the exit pipe. That's the only explanation I could think of.
It was desperately trying to get in there, and so it was caught in a state of perfect balance, which is why it was so foolish to try to do anything. The shark would have just tired itself out and died eventually, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I like watching the movie when I watch the other Jaws movies, but I know that this is not a very good movie, and I rate it a little higher because it's fun when I'm watching the Jaws movies, but talking about it, like, I know that this is a bad movie. Like, this is... I don't even know, like, what else is good about it? I mean, I love the aspect that it's in SeaWorld. I like the aspect of when those skiers turned around and saw the shark there and they all collapsed. I'm like, that's a really tense scene, and that's a believable scene to me, because people would be freaking out if you're on a water ski and a shark is chasing you and you actually see it, so, I don't know, that all the stuff kind of works, but it just doesn't work together. There's something missing. There's like some magic spark that's just not in this film.
Yeah, even like the Lou Gossett Jr. character, who's like the John Hammond equivalent, right, from Jurassic Park. Like, he doesn't even, like, it's funny because I did find it amusing where he's like, hey, guest, just follow your guide and they'll follow you out of the park. Nothing to worry about, just some technical difficulties. Like, is this thing off? Get the hell down there! Like, that was to see that turn. I wanted more from his character. Like, you didn't really even understand his motivations. Like, oh, we're going to make more money. Like, okay, is that it? Like...
But with him, at least he wasn't like the mayor, and he's like denying everything. He's like being a responsible owner. He's like, okay, I'll get these people out of there. I don't know. So I like that aspect of Lou Gossett Jr.'s character. So,
but he should have died at the end. Like, that felt like, again, not enough people died. Like, this movie had no balls to kill off a dolphin. Right? I mean, that would have been sad, but I'm like, oh, a dolphin died. They try to fake you out at the end, like, oh, where's, whatever his name is. Sorry, I forget their names. Flipper. Where's Flipper? They don't kill Leah Thompson. She's my favorite character.
Yeah.
They didn't have the balls to do that, and they didn't kill off Lou Gossett Jr., who, even though he wasn't like a evil guy, a money grubbing guy, like at the heart of it, like you said, because he did the right thing and let everybody go, or announced it was not safe and had everybody evacuate. Like he was still kind of responsible for this whole situation, and he did let his nephew die. I don't know if you guys caught that, but the guy in the control center was his nephew, and nobody seemed to really care when he got chewed up by the shark at the end. So I feel like it would have been appropriate for him to die at the end.
I still, I don't know. I mean, it's like I understand the desire to sort of like see what can be salvaged from this, but it really is sort of like a dead end.
Yes.
Release the Matheson cut.
Yeah, right. But I mean, even going to the Lou Gossett Jr., oh, well, at least he encourages everybody to walk out. And it's like, well, yeah, but all the tourists are actually on the land part. What's the shark going to do? Like jump up and, attack them on the land? Like, they are safe.
He has been known to do that. The shark has already killed a helicopter.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, this is a different shark.
Is it? No, yes, it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least the Jaws movies have different sharks in each of them. At least it's not like some super shark.
Although in the fourth one, that does get kind of confusing when they're talking about, was that shark? It's like, it's not this different shark.
Yeah.
But that's Jaws 3D, guys. Like, I don't really know what else to say. I just think we all keep hitting on the same points. A really cool concept, just terribly executed. And there was just nothing like, there's not like, hey, remember that one cool, like a cool shot, a cool moment. Like, they're little things that stick out because they're not just so bland. This is like a TV movie of the week is what it feels like.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's one thing that I want to point out that's like really painful, and it's like the final shot, Don, you mentioned when it breaks through the glass. It's like so slow.
Yes.
And long. And it's like, what is going on? Because you can't see that it's about to go through glass. It's just this long shot of this weird special effect shark.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is going
you have no perspective. You have no perspective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's probably the most iconic shot of the movie, which says a lot for the movie. That
I think the shot was actually...
I don't know, that 3D arm would probably be... was it an arm in this one that was floating?
Yeah,
there?
The arm floating in the water. It wasn't the shot of the shark hitting the glass in the trailer. I want to say it was in at least one of the trailers or TV ads I saw. Yeah.
But see, this shows you seeing more of the shark, having more sharks. That's not the answer, okay? Because we see the shark here more than any other movie probably, and there's more than one, and they keep getting worse. And it's not that you see the shark; it's what you do with the shark and the characters around them. That is something these movies just continue to not understand.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, our death count for Jaws 3. Now, if I'm wrong about this, let me know, because IMDb told me that 8 people died. There were 8 deaths in this,
high.
but I did not count that. So let's see what we got here. So we got Tom Selleck, who dies at the beginning, fixing the gate. We have those coral thieves that die, which is just a random subplot. So that brings us to 3. Crocodile Dundee dies, so that's 4. And then Lou Gossett Jr.'s nephew dies when the command center gets crashed by the shark. So that's 5 people, and then of course 2 sharks because both sharks die. So maybe they're counting people who died in all that chaos. I was paying attention, at least best to my ability, and I didn't see any more people die. But
didn't any of the water skiers die, like when they fell?
No, I think they should have, but I didn't see a shark eat anybody there, unless I missed something.
No, I remember somebody getting pulled out at the last second with the underwater camera. But no, I don't recall any of the water skiers. I don't recall it. And that's kind of sad because I think this speaks to your point, Brandon, about how forgettable it is. It's one of those things where I feel like I should be remembering more of this movie, but it's already slipping from memory, mercifully.
Yeah, I don't remember this film very well, but Michael Caine was great.
So then to bring us to our totals then, so far in the Jaws franchise, we have 12 people, 1 killer whale, 1 dog, and 4 sharks.
Excellent. That's a lot of sharks.
That's a great observation, Brandon.
We're 4-3. That's a lot of sharks. That's
four
more
for
than
3.
100%.
That's right. So John, how many dorsal fins out of 5 would you give Jaws 3D?
1/2.
Ooh, not even a full dorsal.
Not even a full dorsal fin because I have a long-standing tradition of giving a half star to a movie simply if I haven't heard of any on-set fatalities. You get a 0 if that, they're like it's an impossible to hit a 0 in certain circumstances. I have seen a few that hit 0, but like a half star is like, well, y'all showed up and tried.
You made the movie.
Okay. Yeah. You released
Better than I
it.
can do.
It made it to theaters. You employed a ton of people. Half star for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for me, I'm going to give it 1 out of 5 dorsal fins because there were some things I liked. I keep saying this, but it was great seeing Lee Thompson in her prime and her Back to the Future, Howard the Duck prime of the mid-'80s.
You could just say it's great to see her in her bikini.
Brandon, we're a very progressive podcast here, and I resent the insinuation that I only like this character due to her physical appearance.
John, back me up.
No, I liked her hairstyle an awful lot. I liked 80s hairstyles on young
and
women.
she had a
They
real
were very
spunky
good.
personality. She was a talented jet skier. I mean, there's a lot to her. But anyway, like I said, the scene where Crocodile Dundee is inside the shark was pretty creepy. Lou Gossett Jr. was entertaining in parts. And again, concept alone is pretty smart. The execution is just pretty terrible. So 1 out of 5 for me. What about you, Brandon?
Well, I give this a 5.
I wouldn't put it past you to do that.
Hey, I resent that. Actually, I give it a 2, and I give it a 2 because, again, when I watch it, the only time I ever watch it is when I'm doing a Jaws marathon, and I enjoy it every time I watch it. I'm not sitting there hating on this film. It's fun, but again, I will never grab this off the shelf to watch it all by itself. So I give it a 2. There's definitely worse movies out there. There's definitely better movies out there. So, and I don't hate it while I'm watching it. I just hate it when I'm talking about it.
That should be our tagline for this podcast. That's brilliant.
That is such an eloquent way of putting things.
Excellent. Well, John, now's our big question here. Do you think that this franchise is fatigued at this point?
Oh, Lord, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. This is it with Jaws 3D. It's put it out of its misery phase.
Put it out of its misery.
Yeah.
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this movie, it's so disconnected from the other two as well. It doesn't even justify its own existence in the franchise. They named his character Mike Brody and Sean Brody, but they're not the same actors. They're not the same ages. It's so disconnected. It's a different part of the country. They've clearly found the most creative idea they could for a Jaws sequel, and they squandered that. So no way should they keep going with this franchise. It's absolutely fatigued at this point.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. This is definitely fatigued. They should not revisit this well, and I think that should be the end of it. So, but it's not.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Oh, no, it isn't.
It's not.
Oh, wow.
And we will talk to you guys again in 2 weeks when we cover Jaws: The Revenge. And we'll discuss whether or not it is better than Jaws 3. But until then, John, where can people find you when you're not politely telling everybody to evacuate the podcast?
Well, you can find me as Kessel Junkie, lurking on Twitter every so often. Look for me on Letterboxd and at kesseljunkie.com. I write there occasionally. And you can find me over on the Nerd Party, co-hosting Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast, and Retro Perspective, a podcast where we are going through 1994, one release week at a time, and analyzing the films of 25 years ago. And boy, there are some real contenders for the Jaws 3 crown in that year, let me tell you.
I think I think you should name every episode either John versus or Mike versus, because you've done that like 3 times now.
I think that's what it's going to wind up being, because
Yes.
I sort of realized that it eventually boils down to that. Yeah.
Yes. I think there's been a lot of fun discussions that you guys have had. I like listening to Retro Perspective, so keep it up.
You.
It's a fun show to listen to. Someday I'll get on there. We got to hammer out our schedule because you guys are going to be doing Wes Craven's New Nightmare this year, right?
Oh, that's my favorite Nightmare movie.